Do you know that not even cheating can save you from being terrible?
All right, guys, Dr. Lupo cheating in chess situation is crazy. So the second worst thing to ever happen to a doctor on Twitch just went down, and I'm starting to think he doesn't even have a PhD. So Dr. Lupo is a somewhat popular streamer here on the internet. He's definitely past his peak, but he still has a good bit of relevance, a dedicated audience to an extent. And he exposed himself the other night when he was participating in a Twitch PogChamps chess tournament, where he got caught red-handed using a chess cheating engine that was able to tell him all of the exact perfect moves that he needed to make in order to secure the dub. Now, I don't know very much about competitive chess, but apparently, according to the anti-cheat software that was monitoring his game, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after backing himself into a corner in the middle of the match, he managed to pull off like 20-something different maneuvers that were so perfectly executed that it was essentially mathematically and statistically impossible for him to have been able to pull this all off on his own. It wasn't just like he made a few lucky moves and then was able to squeak out a win. It was just blatant and obvious cheating that apparently anyone who is well seasoned in competitive chess would be able to point it out. And so immediately after winning, he was getting cooked on Twitter. Live on stream, people were calling him out, and he had to address this immediately. And that did not work out so well.
Man, you and I had some really crazy good games. Those were the best ones that I played today. It was, of course, against the highest ranked person. And I'm sure you didn't instigate it, I'm assuming. But now my chat has had an inundation as well as social media of saying that I cheated against you.
I saw some stuff in my chat. Yeah, I certainly didn't feed into it. But yeah,
I don't think you did.
I did see some messages in my chat about it.
The context here is he's now invited the person who he beat in the tournament on his stream to discuss this further.
Sorry, I guess I don't know what to say. It sucks because like I got shit on it the rest of the day.
You can see he's immediately sowing the seeds of doubt. You know, oh, well, I mean, I was doing so shitty all day. You know, I just got lucky at the end. What can I say?
Yeah. Like honestly, like the way that I feel about it is like this is a for fun tournament. You know what I mean? Like the stakes aren't super high. Like, yeah, there's some prize money and there's pride in the line, but like, I mean, like we're playing for fun, right? It's an influencer event. So
I think this guy is just trying to be polite. He's probably a little intimidated that Dr. Lupo is such a bigger creator than he is. From my understanding, this wasn't like totally a just for fun event. Like from what I heard, this was a $100,000 tournament, which should be kind of a big deal, like especially for a lot of the smaller creators involved with this. Like obviously pride plays into this. People play to win. They want to be seen as, you know, really excellent players most of the time. But yeah, like 100K, that's not really a joke, you know?
I'm not too worked up about it. You know what I mean? Like, I believe you. I believe you didn't cheat. I saw a message. So this is what I was sent. Cause like, you know, listen, dude, I don't fucking play chess. I have no fucking clue. But I think this is probably why people are.
Yeah, no, I saw that too.
So it's true for what's worth. Like
I did 26 in a row. I don't know.
What he's talking about is how the computer that was monitoring his game counted 26 consecutive moves in a row that were perfectly executed to the point where a computer had to have been making the decisions for him.
I was talking out on stream. Like I didn't have chat up, and I can show, like, I don't know if you probably don't have my stream up right now. But this window right here is where chat is. But I minimized those when we were playing, and instinctively I just look at that fucking monitor because that's where chat always is all the time. And so it's like, yeah, I that was the one game that happened.
This is actually hilarious how, like, obviously guilty he comes off now looking back. Nobody asked yet, but immediately he was like, oh, you know, I didn't even have chat open. Like, I was just looking in this direction because naturally, instinctively, I do. Nobody had even really, like, suspected yet that he was looking away from his monitor. And what's funny is that he admits that he had the chat window closed, according to himself. Yet later, when he got off stream and was doubling down, defending himself further on Twitter, his main defense was that he got the answers for the correct moves from his Twitch chat. So he would go on to contradict that whole spiel like a solid like 30 minutes or a few hours after saying this. And you could see him breaking down at the end. He's just like, it was only that one game this happened. All my other games, the computer never got flagged then. You know, I was playing like shit all day. I'm not looking at Twitch chat. I got all the answers from Twitch chat. I just instinctively look at this monitor from time to time.
I guess I don't know. I don't know how to explain it other than I got fucking lucky. I don't know, man. It's just so tiring because I wanted this to be fun and
Yeah, it
like
should be fun. 100%.
yeah.
Listen, man, I'm not like you have nothing to apologize for, or like, yeah, you shouldn't feel like I am not upset with you.
You can really see how uncomfortable Lupo is getting as the guilt is creeping up. This guy's being super charitable. He's like, oh, you don't have to apologize for anything. Like, I don't know shit about chess. Like, oh, this is fun. It's just fun. This guy outright said that he doesn't really know very much about chess. It was really like a lot of other people coming to him, telling him that he got cheated. So I can understand from his perspective that like he doesn't really know what he's talking about. So he's not going to throw out any accusations in the dark. But like, man, is this awkward.
I'm not interested in feeding into this. Like, I think that this should be like a good vibes, fun tournament. You know what I mean? Like,
appreciate that.
I believe you personally. Like, I mean, I don't see why you like. We're playing for fun. Like, I don't like. I don't know. Like. Yeah, I know we don't know each other very well, but I know you're quite successful. I'm sure you're not like hurting, like, trying to scheme for the prize money, right?
I'm sorry, but the face Lupo is making right there looks exactly like the guy from LA Noire. Oh my God, like that shit is just a spitting image. You know he's just fucking cooked. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, dude. It sucks because, yeah, like you played really well. And I imagine it's frustrating to like be like, man, I popped off, and then have people, accusing you. So I'm sorry that you have to deal with it. That's tough.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, so immediately he was denying all of this, which I understand. Like, if a cheater is getting caught, immediately they're going to try to defend themselves. They're not going to fold right away. But what I think is much more damning is the sort of PR sweeping he tried to do on Twitter soon after the stream. It's the doubling down on Twitter that I really have a problem with, because it got to a point where it was so obvious. Like, he insists right here, believe me or not, I played what I played, pulled from chat though, couldn't stop looking. I should know better than that. Just immediately jumping on any excuse he can grasp his hands on. Bro doesn't realize that chat was giving him engine moves. Oh yeah, I'm assuming that was the case. Yeah, I'm sure. That's what did it, He wasn't using a chess engine. The chat was. It's just fucking absurd he even tried to pull that. First of all, people could just look at the chat and see what people were actually saying. But just like realistically speaking, not every single person in the chat is going to be a chess wizard, is going to understand the best move that can be played. Even if his chat was giving him tips here or there or trying to tell him what to do, if you were to like actually try and read the chat and take in every single suggestion between your moves, it's like, dude, you've literally got thousands of people trying to suggest thousands of different potential moves for him all at once. There's no way that there was any sort of like cohesive movement within the chat to accurately predict his next moves for him. But like here he's tripling down, fighting with people on Twitter. He cheated no matter what he says, blunders his queen, thinks for 2 minutes, plays 25 consecutive engine moves with consistent time usage, cannot explain thought processes behind any of the highly complex ideas. No, we get the triple down. We get literally explained all of it on stream as I was playing. Didn't cheat. Remember, I had a good game, but I got rolled the rest of the day. It's pathetic. And it shows that he's lacking a lot of remorse. Look, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. I think we're all going to move on from this, but it's scummy. It's kind of fucked up to fuck over another participant in the tournament, but you could also just potentially be throwing the entire tournament off. I mean, who knows how far he would have gone with this if he thought he might not have gotten caught. There's just no place for it. If you're in some sort of competition, especially with like legit prizes on the line, there needs to be competitive integrity. End of discussion. This is childish behavior from a 38-year-old man. And so the discussion would continue on Twitter until eventually Lupo was informed that he was going to be removed from the tournament altogether, banished from competing on chess.com. And so he got out ahead of this a few minutes early, saying that he was stepping out of the tournament himself, that he had fun participating, but he doesn't want to ruin it for anyone else with all this drama. And then chess.com posted their own thing on Twitter. A few minutes later, they came out saying, nah, motherfucker, we banned you. This was our decision. Again, pretty embarrassing. He has this tendency to try to position himself as sort of like a nice guy. I've never really seen a whole lot of Dr. Lupo throughout the years. Never really watched much of his streams before or anything like that, like ever. But like the few clips I've seen of him here and there throughout the years, I tend to be a bit of a judgmental person, so take this with a grain of salt, but he has always had this sort of like fake nice guy kind of energy that I've picked up on through the bits and pieces of him that I've seen. I don't got specific examples to point point to. It's just a feeling I get. It's a gut feeling, a vibe, if you will. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm not super familiar with him. I don't think it's the end of the world either. It's just, I feel like I know fake nice when I see it, and some people are just fake nice. You know, it doesn't mean that they're awful. It's just kind of one of their flaws. But I'm mentioning that I got this kind of impression from him because he actually kind of somewhat addresses that in his full-blown apology that he would release earlier today, a day after all this went down on Twitter. Like, his apology stream/video clip was actually pretty interesting. I'll give him a little bit of credit. I thought it was decent. It's got some flaws that I'm going to pick apart here in a minute, but largely speaking, I think he did a pretty decent job, especially compared to all of the apology videos we've seen out there through the years. He actually takes some direct accountability, doesn't really make excuses, and even allows himself to be a little vulnerable for a minute, which I appreciated. Like, obviously, a lot of people are very frustrated with him, especially those coming from the chess community on the internet. All rightfully so. I don't think he should be excused at all whatsoever. I just like to think that I'm capable of nuance and capable of being fair, and I think it's worthwhile giving credit where credit is due whenever you can. Like, this apology that we're about to get into could be so much worse, and it's worth noting when some people are able to take some of the proper steps to make amends, because most of these apology videos seem very disingenuous, and I found this one to be somewhat pretty genuine.
As first, we're going to start today talking about paw champs. So if you didn't see, I posted on Twitter about it, and there's a couple things to clarify. A lot of it, whether you believe me or not, is fine. I get it. But I lied to you yesterday.
Right off the bat, major credit just for calling it what it is. So many people tried to squirm or dodge their way around whatever it is they might have done. Actually, very to the point right there. I lied. So this was taken from his stream earlier today. Right at the start of the stream, he just got right into this. Although, like, my first nitpick is it is worth mentioning that he was double and tripling down up until the point it was impossible for him to keep going with it, to keep running with the lies. Like, yes, he is admitting to it right here, which I think is worth noting, but he arguably has already pushed this to its limit. There was just no feasible way he was going to be able to keep lying reasonably. So there is like this tinge of this feeling overarching all this that he's only apologizing right now because he seemingly has no other choice but to address it directly. Though as we keep going here, I do think he ends up showing legitimate remorse. Even if the backlash has pushed him to this point, I think he's able to legitimately self-reflect.
I cheated against Wolf. He's a better player than me. And that second game, obviously 26 moves in a row. Yeah, I cheated. What ended up happening, I betrayed the trust of the chess community. I betrayed the trust of my chat. I lied directly to Wolf. And so if for some reason you see this, I'm sorry. I got caught in a fight or flight moment and panicked and doubled down.
Again, pretty solid so far. I understand that there's pretty much like absolutely nothing he could say to get people to just forgive him or move on from this. And again, rightfully so. I don't like cheaters. I don't really trust him anymore. I think this calls into question how much he's cheated over the years, because I highly doubt this is his first time bending the rules of something he's participated in. But there's nothing else he can really say, and he's not fighting it. He's not resisting it. He cheated and he lied. Not bad so far. Doesn't really change anything about the way people are going to look at him. Not bad as far as addressing things.
The reason I'm saying this stuff is not because I'm like, I don't want sympathy. I don't need that. Actually, if anything, I told mods to not censor anything in chats today because it's the only. I mean, I deserve it. I do. I absolutely deserve it. I fucked up. I've loved chess for a really long time. Played when I was in middle school and high school, and I am appalled and embarrassed. It's funny too because I'm the Tarkov guy that's always very anti-cheater, right? And then, of course, it's the person that's so loud and vocal about it that turns around and ends up doing it.
Yeah, so Escape from Tarkov is a game that's notorious for its rampant cheaters that kind of ruin the experience for everyone who plays it. Supposedly, he's been one of the more outspoken people about this. Although I was reading comments in other YouTube videos sort of discussing this whole situation with him. And some people in these comments have suggested that he's been suspected of cheating in Tarkov specifically in the past, which, knowing the rampant cheating community throughout that game, wouldn't be the most far-fetched accusation in the world. And I think in a lot of people's minds, now that he's been caught red-handed in this whole debacle, I think there's a lot of people out there watching who are rightfully looking back and raising their eyebrows very hard at his Tarkov gameplay from the past. That actually could explain, too, why he thought he could maybe get away with this. Like, imagine he's streaming Tarkov for years, cheating at the game, while calling out other cheaters and totally getting away with it. Of course he would think that he's capable of getting away with cheating at another game. Does it end at Tarkov? Does it end with chess right here? How many games has he cheated in before? That really is the most damning thing about all of this, is that his credibility and his integrity has no doubt been called into serious question. I mean, with how many hours, though, of streaming that he has under his belt in the last, 5 years, the last decade, I highly doubt he was cheating that often throughout his career and totally getting away with it. But the worst part about these sort of things is you'll just never know, and you'll never be able to fully trust him. Because it's not just the cheating and the lying about that. It's if he's willing to cheat, bend the rules, and blatantly lie that hard, I mean, what else has he lied about or misled people on in the past? Maybe he's not a serial cheater, but maybe he is a serial liar. I hardly know much about him, and even I'm disappointed in him. This is the kind of thing that sticks.
I recognize, too, that by betraying your trust, because I lied to you guys, too, the people that watch me, obviously there's going to be people that are going to be flowing in and saying all sorts of stuff all day. I deserve it. It's fine. Let it go. You don't. Nobody that watches me has to defend. I'm a 38-year-old man, and of all the places to do what I did it in a tournament for a game that I very much enjoy, and it was dumb as fuck, man. So yeah, I'm sorry for that.
One thing that I don't appreciate as much, and one of the bigger flaws with this apology that I found, is that he's focusing a lot on how it was such a stupid mistake what he did, and he's super embarrassed. And yeah, it was stupid, and he should be embarrassed. But I would have liked to have heard a little bit more specifically about what is so wrong about what he did. Again, I'm not gonna lose any sleep because some dude fucking cheated in a game. But there's people who were affected by this. And it's not like he's going around kicking puppies and stealing candy from babies, but what he did was immoral. There should be a bit more of a focus on the overall kind of immorality of all this. But he does directly say, and even kind of looks right at the camera when he says it, he goes, "I'm sorry." That's pretty clear cut. That's more than most apologies. Honestly, most apologies don't even utter the word "I'm sorry." So I do think he's kind of teetering back and forth where it's his ego has been very bruised and he's trying to protect it. But at the same time, there is a part of him that does genuinely see that he did something genuinely wrong. There's sort of a feeling that he's only more upset that he got caught than with what he did. But I don't even know if that's worth mentioning because that's par for the course for an apology. He wouldn't have gotten caught doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing if he didn't think for whatever reason at the time it was a good thing for him to do. So I'm not trying to say that I think he's totally reformed and that this is fantastic, but I do think there are hints here and there that he's willing to change, that he's willing to look deeper as to why he would do something like this and correct this. I think there's legitimate shame that he's feeling. Most of the apologies out there, people are shameless. They don't really believe they did something wrong. I think he knows he did something wrong, but is simultaneously very frustrated that he's just gotten himself in this situation in the first place. It's kind of an inconvenience for him. Again, these things are just worth taking note of.
There's no excuse, but I know why, and I want to say it on stream because for a while I was going to a therapist, and then that kind of fell through because the guy that I was talking to didn't really line up super well, and I never bothered to go find another one. And one of the things that he and I had been talking about that I very clearly need to go back and talk to someone else about, and this will all make sense in a second if you've watched me for more than 5 seconds. If you're in here just to take the shots, I get it. please fire away. Like I said, I deserve it. But I have a very, very fragile ego. I've often wondered whether or not I was cut out for this job because I'm a super sensitive guy. I for whatever reason take things that people say, strangers say, to heart. And again, this is not justification. This is not an excuse. I fully own that I'm the one that made the choice and fucked up yesterday, 100%. And I understand there's going to be ramifications for that. I get it, and I'm gonna face that shit head on, because I think it's the only way to actually handle mistakes. Because I made a really big, really stupid one in front of thousands of people, and fight or flight hit. I panicked and tried to lie, and man, that was dumb as fuck too.
See, a lot of people might say that that's an excuse, that he's bringing up therapy and the things that he's been working on in it in the past. I don't exactly consider it an excuse in this instance, because I don't think he's necessarily saying this to justify anything. I think it's an actual genuine moment of vulnerability. It's very difficult to just publicly admit to and own any of your flaws. And I do think it's important that even if it doesn't excuse anything anyone does, like, it's always worth like giving some sort of an explanation as to like what led you to make these decisions. That was the biggest thing on my mind. I couldn't like properly understand why he would do this. He didn't need the money, and he's already gained like some level of success and recognition on the internet. So like, what does he have to prove? Evidently, as he said it, he has a fragile ego. I can tell it makes him uncomfortable to say that. I can tell he's a little embarrassed to be admitting to it. He didn't have to share that bit that he has a poor relationship with his ego, and that's his responsibility. It shouldn't be anyone else's fucking problem, and it's not a reason to go and cheat. But like, just being able to outright admit that earns a lot of respect from me, because I know he's not going to get a whole lot of credit from most people for that, but I respect it, because with how many people that are out there who try to resist and deny who they are or the kind of person they're being, it takes balls to admit to your flaws, and that's the first step to being able to work through them. I don't think having a big or a fragile ego is the worst thing in the world either. Like, again, it's not kicking puppies or stealing candy from babies. We all have flaws, even if everyone's flaw isn't necessarily anything with their ego. But like, the bottom line is he cares a lot about what other people think. In admitting this outright, he's probably also admitting that he's somewhat of a jealous individual. He's very self-conscious. He probably feels the need to be superior or appear as better than other people in certain situations. And he doesn't earn my sympathy, but like I said, respect for self-awareness. And I think this is an indication that it's something he genuinely wants to work on, because the tough thing about our flaws is we may be able to deny them or run from them or hide them from ourselves, but our flaws make our lives more difficult oftentimes. That pain and that insecurity is like tough to live with on a day-to-day basis. And so it's no free pass to cross any limits, but there is a part of me that, hearing all this, does believe that he wants to grow, and he probably is disgusted with himself to some degree. I don't think he's letting himself off the hook with all this. I don't think that this is crocodile tears, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Anyway, so for a long time, like I said, I had been seeing a therapist. One of the things that I have tried to work on, or I tried to work on with him, and like I said, I need to find a new one, is the fragility of my ego. You can see it in previous streams too, where people, in fact, when Marathon came out and a friend was doing a 24-hour stream, commentary about how I looked, which I know that I shouldn't take to heart, got to me, and I raised my voice at a friend that didn't do anything. And I shouldn't have done that.
I do think this is a genuine moment of self-reflection. I don't think he's just bringing up this previous situation with a friend to try to distract from anything at hand here. I think he's using it to point to the fact that he's had issues with his ego for a long time, and he seems like somewhat frustrated in himself. He never took this as seriously back then before he would go on to do something like he just did. Remember, for people who struggle managing their own ego, just admitting to these things out loud, especially in front of so many people, it's very difficult to do. He deserves being put in this position, but it is a big step to changing. It shows that there's a possibility this situation could be a wake-up call for him.
And I recognize that it's because I, for whatever reason, and obviously, like I said, need to talk to somebody about it, I let commentary from strangers impact me in a way that results in me doing things that I would not expect of myself, but very obviously are part of me because I'm the one that did them. In that case, raising a voice, it's happened. That has happened with other people that I respect, and there have been repercussions from that, and that sucks. But I deserve them. And in this case, I let stuff from chat from between previous games infest my mind, and I made the choice to do what I did.
Like, notice one of the key things that he said was that he made the choice to do what he did, but he's just kind of providing a little more insight as to why he made the choice, not why the choice was a good decision, why it was the choice he made. Just shows that he has an indication of where the problem lies within him. If he's ever going to regain people's trust in the future, this is the kind of stuff you need to be acknowledging. It's pretty straightforward. He says that he was embarrassed with his performance in previous games and the way that chat was calling him out for it, probably felt jealous of other players who seem to win at something that he's trying to compete at. He has his own feelings of inadequacy and like he's not good enough or inferiority. And he took the shortcut because he couldn't take the pain of actually looking at himself until right now he has no choice but to look at himself. Again, this is much more vulnerability than you'll see in most apologies. I don't think it's perfect by any means. I do think that he's still spending a little too much time focusing on himself, even though like there is the question, what do you have to say for yourself? But it's like he really should be focusing more on like the event that he disturbed and the people that he directly impacted. There is a fair bit of me here, which, that's the ego. But there's genuine remorse sprinkled in, and like I said, I'm gonna give credit where it's due.
I know that there's gonna be people that feel betrayed, that they put their trust in someone. Believe me, I have been there, which makes it even worse because I know what it's like to put your trust in a person you look up to, and they betray said trust. And I did that to a lot of people. I'm not asking for forgiveness. There's going to be people that don't. The internet's going to say what they're going to say. I deserve it. I do.
Yeah, he's not going to ever be able to live this down. People are literally never, ever going to forget this, certainly not within his own community. I think only time will tell how much he really means every bit of what he just said, because the real test will come in the future when it's like, months, years down the line, whatever. Like, is he going to lash out at people who are still giving him shit for it, or is he going to take it? I mean, we'll have to see on that. If he's able to just take it and not push back on it, because I do believe what he did is pretty indefensible, then that would really show that he means everything he's saying. I don't think people should ever forget this, and I think any sort of event like this he participates in the future should take this into account and should keep an eye on him. And I think his viewers in general should keep a closer eye on him. But until he does slip up again, so far, it's just this one incident. And he seems to be making an effort to address whatever it is that brought him to do this.
I also recognize fully that there's going to be people that are like, well, he cheated in a game of chess. He's probably cheating at Tarkov. He's probably cheating at XYZ thing. And that's fine. In the YouTube chat, how do we know he hasn't been cheating at everything? You don't. I understand that. You don't.
Again, no excuses there. Pretty straightforward. He's not trying to bargain with anyone. He's not trying to weasel his way out. Bottom line is, nobody can ever truly trust him like they did before. He can probably build back up some of that trust over time, especially if there's like a noticeable change in his overall character, or more specifically, his fragile ego that he discussed. But this is why trust is something you never want to mess with if you can't face the consequences, let alone the immorality of breaking people's trust in the first place. Of course, that's obvious.
Not like I said. I know some people are gonna say I'm not a victim. The people that are victims are people that trusted me. That Wolf, Daniel, Danny Ranch. Very, very sorry to him and everybody at chess.com.
So yeah, largely speaking, I think he could have spent a little less time talking about himself. All in all, I thought it was pretty genuine for the most part. I don't think he deserves any sympathy at all whatsoever. And I'm not making this video because I'm some super secret fanboy. Like, I'm hardly familiar with the guy, really. But like I said, I think it's worth pointing out and encouraging when people are genuinely and honestly trying to improve. I think there's a lot of good notes to take away from this, a lot of good lessons to learn, and it's a decent example in how to self-reflect and take accountability. The only like bigger issue that I had with this whole apology came right at the end, which we're going to break down right here to finish off.
I don't think running and like not streaming and hiding from it is that's not healthy, and it doesn't resolve anything, right? It doesn't do anything. If I go and take a week off and come back, that's not going to result in anything. I genuinely think the only thing that will start the fixing of my own fragility is exposure to it.
I'm all right with the fact that he live streamed this whole apology / response. I don't agree with the fact that he went on to just immediately after addressing all this, just stream himself playing video games, business as usual. Like, he says a break he doesn't think would be a good idea or very productive. First of all, he should be banned from Twitch. Not permanently, but he should absolutely be issued a 1 week, 2 week, or even month-long ban. It's just the website's policy. So like that alone, the fact that he hasn't been banned yet, he really could have earned a lot of goodwill by sort of like punishing himself a bit there. And I say this more to point to how like there's a big difference in culture between YouTube live streaming and Twitch live streaming. This is important to mention because he streams on both platforms simultaneously, and where Twitch is very much known for their hard-hitting bans that happen pretty frequently, even to some of the biggest creators on Twitch, YouTube hardly ever bans any of their streamers. And I like that a lot about YouTube. I mean, certain situations warrant the takedown of a person's videos or their channel, etc., like in different situations. But largely speaking, the banning culture over at Twitch is pretty toxic. And I just do not want to see YouTube start exhibiting those kind of practices. So like, I feel like stepping away from it for a bit would really help keep YouTube and Twitch off of his back, because like YouTube in particular, if they're able to start like handing out punishments like this to someone like Dr. Lupo, oh dude, that'll be a total fucking mess, a nightmare. Like that'll trickle down to everyone else on YouTube, and there's probably not going to be a lot of very justified or fair enforcements of, you know, like live streaming bans. It's a touchy subject, but like that aside, I think it kind of takes away a bit from his apology that he wants to seemingly just like move forward from here on out like nothing happened. Like, yeah, that's what he should be doing, but like I do think he should take at least a few days to like genuinely look at himself a little more, look into ways that he can treat this issue that he seems to be struggling with. Like he says, the best thing for him to grow past his fragile ego is to be exposed to things that he finds challenges his ego. Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I think he shouldn't go back to streaming immediately, because that indicates to me he's kind of like trying to avoid a lot of that like inner work that he probably should be taking care of. Think about it. What's difficult? Streaming again like business as usual, or actually stopping, not working for a day, and taking a good hard look in the mirror for a few days or even a week? I think he could make much more progress working on himself if he were to directly address that head on, as opposed to sort of looking past it. Like I do take his word that he's probably going to consider these things when he's not streaming, you know, more often in his free time. He's going to be looking into this kind of thing, but he can make a lot more progress a lot quicker by not running from this. Although that's something he'll have to find out for himself. Who knows? I don't really think he's going to get into much trouble in the future. He's been a largely uncontroversial streamer for the vast majority of his career. And I do think that despite what he did being unforgivable, he does deserve a bit of the benefit of the doubt, you know, as someone who could potentially grow from this and never really repeat the behavior. I'll admit that I would be pretty shocked if he ever gets caught cheating again in any sort of capacity. But we'll have to see. Maybe I'll eat those words. Maybe he'll make me look like a fool for the goodwill I've shown him in this video, especially compared to some of my other videos where I go much harder on some people. But yeah, the apology could be better, but not that bad. One of the better ones I've seen in a minute.